Alright y'all, so I tried something different today. Usually this is the space where you get to hear me, your boy, talk about opinions on your favorite albums, how they rank. I make y'all mad, yell at me in the comments, you know how it goes. But I decided to switch things up today. So I wanted to see how my thoughts fared against the thing that y'all now love, the new hotness, ChatGPT. Yes, man versus machine type stuff up in here today. So here's what I did. I asked ChatGPT, not a fan of, by the way, I'll get into that in a second. I asked ChatGPT to name the 10 best hip-hop albums from 2010.
Great topic. The 2010s were an incredible decade for both rap and R&B, with artists pushing boundaries and refining their respective genres. Here are some of the best rap albums of the decade.
See, now this is why I don't like that robotic voodoo. We about to get real weird on today's video. Welcome to another edition of the Soul and Stereo Sessions right here on YouTube. And you heard what's going down today. It's me versus ChatGPT. And I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of automated AI type things for various reasons. And often, I'll keep it a buck. It's my ego. Because ChatGPT, people think that it's like this little machine somewhere that's just manufacturing everything. No. ChatGPT is a program that pulls composite information from social media, compiles it, and delivers it to you. Basically, they're cheating off of our papers. So if you ask ChatGPT, hey ChatGPT, what are the best Keith Sweat albums of all time? I guarantee you ChatGPT mines some of my posts on soulandstereo.com and then gives you a list based off of stuff I already wrote. I wouldn't be mad at that if I actually got credit for it. Y'all going to ChatGPT for the real instead of going to your boy for the real. Give your homie a click. So that's kind of why I'm not a big fan of it. But I do understand, ego aside, that it is a very useful tool for some people. But just don't be having it writing your little term papers, children. I know how y'all do. And real recognize real. I can read something and tell in an instant that is ChatGPT because it has no soul, it has no life, has no vibrancy to it. So, you know, at least if you're going to do it, like, put something in it. Y'all can't even cheat right. But I thought it would be an interesting experiment if I asked ChatGPT to name the best albums of the previous decade and to compare it to my own list of the best albums of the previous decade to see where it measures up. Because, again, their list is going to be pulling from places all over the internet. So basically their list is going to be like the consensus of the internet. What's the greatest? Whereas mine is going to be more nuanced, more niche, more to the point. I'm going to give you that real as always. And that's why you come here. So remember, ChatGPT is kind of a composite look. I'm going to give you the real. And we're going to decide which one is which one. And for the record, my list that I will be using, because I do have a list on soulandstereo.com of the 50 best hip-hop albums of the 2010s. This will not be that list. That list includes mixtapes, so I didn't want to add that in because that's just a different ChatGPT prompt. So these will just be LPs only, no mixtapes all up in the mix. Because that's not fair. So don't look for Friday Night Lights from J. Cole. Don't look for anything from Big Crit's mixtape run. Just talking the album. So, before we get into it, y'all know how it is. Take a second and make sure you hit like on this video because you're going to like this video. Unless you ChatGPT, maybe you won't like it. But I'm sure you'll like this video. And be sure to share this video when we're done with the hip-hop fan in your life so y'all can have some conversation about your top 10s. And don't forget to subscribe. Look, I checked the algorithms, and most of y'all watching this video have not subscribed. Why not? You get videos every month. Hopefully, if I have time. So just hit subscribe so you can find out when I post a new video. And it costs you nothing but a click. But you have all my respect and admiration. So, let's get to it. Let's do it. My list of the top 10 albums of the 2010s versus ChatGPT. I'll let y'all decide the winner. All right, let's get going. Starting off at number 10 is
Number 10, Tyler, the Creator, Igor.
That's about to get old real quick. My number 10 album of the year is Rhapsody's Eve. So, Robot Man is saying Igor. I think that is a very odd pick because if you want to pick a Tyler album, why not pick Flower Boy? Or, I mean, I would put Wolf over Igor as well. So it's odd that that's the album that it went with, for real? I'm not surprised that he picked the Tyler album due to his popularity, but if we're talking quality, none of those albums match up to Rhapsody's Eve. It's an incredible tribute to womanhood. The lyricism is off the chain. She is an incredible artist, and we're going to talk about her more on this list. In my opinion, one of the quiet MVPs of the decade. And as much as I'm a Tyler fan, and I am, I don't think Igor is anywhere in the league of Eve Rhapsody. So, I ain't rocking with you, Robo. No. That's what we got up next. So, at number 9, I'm going to pick...
Number 9, Future, DS2.
We're going to do this every time. Again, excuse me. My number 9 pick is Killer Mike rap music. Alright. I'll give Robo props. I understand why Future is here, even though I didn't quite understand why Tyler was. I understand why Future was here, and I understand why they picked DS2. Dirt is Right 2 is probably the quintessential Future album. And if you look at not just quality, but influence and style and production, Future is one of the most influential artists of that decade, without question. I am not a fan, but I understand I'm going to say I understand the appeal. I kind of don't, but I understand why it would make this list because of the hype he's received. And I think in terms of quality, it ain't nowhere near Killer Mike's rap music, which is an album that people forget about because people associate Killer Mike in the 2010s with Run the Jewels, and we'll get to that later on. But this album is a great album in and of itself, and most of its themes are so reflective of what we're seeing right now in the country. Man, this album just predicted everything. Call him Nostradamus, because he did it. So, I think this album is leagues better than Future, but I will be honest and unbiased and open-minded, and I will understand why Future got that spot. I don't agree. And spoiler, he ain't making no other spot on my list. No. Okay, on to number 8.
Travis Scott, Astro World.
I knew that was coming this time. I was ready. You need to change the oil in your throat, brother. Look, my number 8, I'm going to go with Rhapsody once again. This time with Layla's Wisdom. I mean, my thoughts here are just like my thoughts from earlier with the Future Killer Mike thing. I'm not the biggest Travis Scott fan, but I do like him much more than Future. And Astro World by far is his best work. So I know people like Rodeo now. Astro World is the most recognizable work. I give him props for that. I don't think that it's a top 10 album. If you listen to, when I created my list of the best albums of the 2010s, I listened to hundreds of albums. I would not put I wouldn't put Travis or that Tyler album anywhere near like the best of the year. Like, that probably wouldn't even be my top 100. Like, no. But I definitely would with Rhapsody's Layla Wisdom. Again, it does everything that Eve did, but a little bit better. And it's a little bit easier to listen to. Eve can be a heavy listen. I feel like Layla's Wisdom is a little bit more accessible, and that's why I have it a little bit higher. But it's a great project, and look, I gotta show love to the ladies since ChatGPT won't. But I think it's better than Travis. But again, I understand why someone would place Travis there just because of his hype and notoriety in the 2010s. But I ain't about hype. I'm about heat. I just think Rhapsody went harder. All right, T-Pain, number 7. Hit me. What you got?
Number 7, Pusha T, Daytona.
Not bad, actually. My number 7 is Run the Jewels 2 by the Run the Jewels. I'm not mad at the Pusha T pick at all. I think that's a very good pick. Most of y'all know I love Pusha T, VA Stand Up, those are my people. And Daytona, in my opinion, is his best solo album to date. For sure. And it didn't make my top 10, but I think when I did my list, it was like number 11 or 12. So it almost made it. It would have been an honorable mention. So I'm not mad at this placement. I do think Run the Jewels is a better work. I think it's a more substantial work. Daytona is great, but you know, there have been complaints about the production and the short run time and yada yada. Doesn't hurt it in my opinion, but those are some of the complaints that you'll hear. I think Run the Jewels is so great. It's a great mix of like the frenetic rap themes plus the socially conscious themes married together. It's the best Run the Jewels project by far. I think it's good. I think it's good. I'm not mad at him for this one. You got one right. You got one right, Robo Skynet. You got one. All right, we're at number 6. And for
number 6, Run the Jewels. Run the Jewels 2.
So you're just repeating me at this point. I just did that out. Okay, my number 6 is Kendrick Lamar's Damn. And I'm glad we're sort of on the same page here. I already talked about how I think Run the Jewels is great. And yeah, I can't be mad at their placement of number 6. I just think that this Kendrick album is a little bit better. You can argue maybe they could be flip-flopped. It's pretty close. But this is the Kendrick Pulitzer album. I like this album a lot. I think most fans do. I know some of Kendrick's later work gets criticized, Mr. Morale for one, of being too thoughtful and too heavy. Imagine being too thoughtful in hip-hop. How did we get here? Anyway, this album I think is a better mix of the conscious themes that Kendrick is known for and just like going crazy, sort of how he did on GNX. It's a good marriage of those two. So I guess I can understand why this one is a little bit more celebrated. But obviously I'm a fan because it's pretty high on my list of the best of 2010. It's a great release. And I'm surprised Robo has not named this one because I would have definitely put this one over some of those other ones they named so far. Not bad though, not mad at RTJ pick. Alright, let's go. Number 5.
Number 5, Drake, Take Care.
I wonder when we would get to Aubrey. My number 5 is Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City. I didn't intentionally do the Drake versus Kendrick thing, so don't get in my comments yelling and screaming. I know how y'all do. I'll say this. I have gone on record to say that Drake's Take Care is his best album. You can check out my ranking of Drake's albums right here on this very channel. Just wade through the hate mail. And I do think that maybe this is a classic. When you think about the notoriety that has gone behind, I'm not too mad at that. I have a lot of criticism of modern day Drake, say that 10 times fast, of his music. But that one is one that really comes together. However, I think Good Kid, Mad City smashes it. It's the album that no matter what side of the Kendrick hate bar you're on, and it seems like there are many of those folks these days, no one denies this album. No one denies it. It's his coming out party. It's not his first album, but it's the one that people remember the most because it was the one where he truly broke through. Lots of incredible songs that still hang with us today. I contend that Sing About Me Dying for Thirst is one of the greatest hip-hop songs ever written. That song gives me legit chills, legit goosebumps. I'm acting like The Rock. Like real goosebumps when I hear that song. It's an incredible piece of work, an incredible album. So yeah, number 5 for me. Some people's number 1, and I'm not mad at it. I definitely think it's better than Take Care. That's just me. I'm not a robot. Number 4, Maestro, please.
Number 4, J. Cole, 2014 Forest Hills Drive.
Really? My number 4 will surprise some of you, and it is Freddie Gibbs and Madlib's Bandana. Okay, let's take a look at J. Cole. This is kind of like the same conversation I had about Drake. I understand why it's here, because J. Cole is one of the most celebrated artists of the decade. This is probably his best solo LP. It's between this and Born Center. I think I went with this for his best. It's pretty close. So I'm not mad at this being recognized as his best. However, I don't think that this is better than anything that's come before this list already. Like, it's definitely not better than Run the Jewels 2. Like, not at all. So, I feel like this is one of those ones that's here because you have to have a J. Cole album on the list. If it were my list and I was adding mixtapes, I would do Friday Night Lights in a split second over that album. But that's not to hate on Forest Hills Drive. It's a good album. I just don't think it's number 4 good. However, I do think Freddie Gibbs and Madlib is number 4 good. Not because of status or notoriety or hype, but because it's just an incredible hip-hop project. I know my boy Gangsta Gibbs gets a lot of fluff and guff on social media. Some of it deserved, some of it self-inflicted. But if we're just talking about MCing, this dude is incredible, and you get the right producer in his corner, Madlib in this case, magic. To me, this is probably his best work to date, and he has some incredible albums. And yes, I would put this one well above Forest Hill Drive. If I was creating a list of the 30 best albums of the 2010s, yeah, Forest Hill Drive will probably be there with Take Care and no, not Igor, maybe Fireboard. But I can't put it above Bandana at all. Like, Bandana's just too dope. Sorry. Some of y'all haven't heard it, so go back and check it out. I love Cole. I'm a big Cole fan. I just don't think this one measures up. All right, coming in at number 3.
Number 3, Kendrick Lamar, Good Kid, Mad City.
Why I keep forgetting? Like, it's stomping all over my thing. All right, Kendrick, we heard it. My number 3 comes from one of my least favorite humans on the planet right now. Kanye West, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. Now, I already said my piece about Good Kid, Mad City. I'm not mad at it being placed at number 3. It deserves a high placement. That's cool. I went with number 3 for Kanye. I know most people would put it at number 2 or number 1 because I think they're 2 albums better. But when it comes to Kanye, he has been coasting off of the success of this album for freaking 15 years. Because whenever he like dresses like a Klansman or wears a swastika or makes his wife walk around naked or whatever deplorable action that y'all out here justifying, is because you like this album. I like this album too. But I'm also going to say that he's a ridiculous human being. But if we're just judging this by the quality of the album and not my burning hatred, I think that it's because this album encapsulates the last of the old Kanye. We got the incredible production, the great soulfulness. He isn't as insightful as he was in previous albums, but he's still pretty good, and it was absolutely an influence for a whole decade of artists and fans. So for that, it absolutely deserves to be one of the top spots for sure. Number 3, I think number 3 is a good spot for it, and I'll explain why a little bit later on. But, can't be mad at the Kendrick Lamar placement. Not hating. All right, we are at the top 2. And that
Number 2, Kanye West, My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy.
I swear this voicemail got one more time to interrupt me. All right, number 2, Kanye. I feel you. I ain't mad at it. Not a bad pick. Can't hate. Sort of agree. Y'all gonna hate on my number 2 though. You're gonna hate very hard, but I stand by what I say. My number 2 is Nas's Life is Good. I'm sure y'all just flipped the table. That's okay, because this is my list And y'all know I'm right when you listen to the album. As much as Jay-Z got so much credit for inventing grown man rap before 444, Nas did it like 5 years before. And of course, Nas didn't do it either. Common and countless others were doing it well before him. Regardless of that, I think that this is one of the best albums Nas has ever released. And that's saying something when you have the career of a Nas. Incredible production. Incredible insight, whether he's talking about his daughter or he's talking about his failed marriage or he's talking about life in general. There's so much insight here. And no, it doesn't have the masterpiece of production that Dark Twisted Fantasy has, but there's so much more soul, heart, and bars here than we get in that project. So again, I'm not hating on that project. It was my number 3. Here being number 2. You know, that's the small margin, so I'm not mad at that placement. But I do think that Nas's Life is Good deserves much, much, much more credit than it deserves for extending Nas's career. Everybody talks about how, oh my gosh, he got saved when he did the King's Disease series and the Magic, it just saved this. No. I knew Nas was already extending his career after this album, because that's how good it was. I was like, okay, he's entering this next phase of greatness, and it was this. I didn't take King's Disease for me to tell me that. So, great album. If you missed it, please check it out. I think it's one of the best. I gave it 5 stars back in the day. I didn't give Kanye 5 stars for this album, even though it is great. I think I gave it 4.5. Whatever. Regardless, great album, and I think it deserves the number 2 placement. Alright, we're at number 1. Roboto, hit me with the line.
Number 1, Kendrick Lamar, To Pimp a Butterfly.
You know what? It finally got it right. My number 1 is also Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly. Yes, I agree. And it's easy to see why. One of the most celebrated albums of all time, definitely in modern hip-hop history. It is a dense, multi-layered, just opus that just dives into the psyche of young Black America in so many ways. We know how Alright became like the anthem of the Black Lives Matter movement. And again, just like Killer Lamar's, Killer Lamar, that needs to be a combo name that they do when they do a collabo. Killer Mike's rap music, To Pimp a Butterfly says so much about where we are as a country right now and where we need to be. It is such an incredible piece of work. We don't get masterpiece type level hip hop these days, but to me, this album is in the conversation for that. It is true artistry. It ain't bangers on bangers, which is fine. You can have your bangers, but I'm not going to call a banger a masterful piece of work. It's just fun. GNX is full of bangers. It's fun. This is hip-hop in its purest form because it's entertaining, it's storytelling, it's real, and it speaks to the social consciousness of a community. To me, that's hip-hop. To me, that's what this album is. And yes, number 1 on both lists, that ought to tell you something. Alright, that's the full list. That list was something else. D Roth, do the people a favor and let's show them the ChatGPT list versus my list. Alright, throw them up so they can see what's good. On the left, you'll see ChatGPT's top 10. On the right, you'll see mine. And you can decide for yourself who got it right. My list, of course, is going to be, in my opinion, a little bit more rooted in lyricism and the culture of hip-hop. That list is going to be more hotness and notoriety and who was hot in the streets. And that's fine. There's value in that. That's cool. You can do that. I'm all right with that. But that's why I think it's important to have two sides of this conversation, because if you got robots running this thing, we are never going to have like objective views before. Think freely about this stuff, and it's good to have differing opinions. I know the internet told you that you can't have differing opinions, but that's a good thing. So let me know whose list was stronger, which one you agree with more. And yes, we will be coming back next time because I also asked ChatGPT to share the top 10 R&B songs of the 2010s. And you think this list has some doozies? Man, listen. Wait till y'all see some of those. This edition of the
Soul and Stereo Sessions was brought to you by ChatGPT.
All right. Look, I let you pick the songs. I let you interrupt me like 8, 9, 10 times. I'm tired. Show yourself so you can get these real life hands, digital person. Who is behind all of this anyway? Who is behind this ChatGPT stuff?